You are standing in a grocery store. Coke or Pepsi? It feels like a choice. Apple or Microsoft? Democrat or Republican? Nike or Adidas? You think you are free. You think the market gives you options. You think competition keeps prices down and quality up. But you are wrong. There is no competition. There are no choices. There is only the illusion of choice. Because behind every brand, every product, every company you think you know, there are two names, two entities that own it all: BlackRock and Vanguard. They own Coca-Cola, and they own Pepsi. They own Apple, and they own Microsoft. They own Fox News, and they own MSNBC. They own the gas station where you fill up, and the insurance company that charges you more every year. They own the bank that holds your mortgage, and the investment firm managing your pension. They are the invisible hand behind every transaction, every purchase, every vote, and you never see them coming. Let's talk about size. BlackRock manages $10 trillion. Vanguard manages another $8 trillion. Together, that is $18 trillion under control, not under management, under control. That is not money sitting in a vault. That is ownership. That is power. That is leverage over every corner of the global economy. To put that in perspective, Germany's entire economy is $4 trillion. Japan's is $5 trillion. BlackRock and Vanguard combined are worth more than the GDP of Germany, Japan, and the United Kingdom. Combined. They are not companies. They are empires. BlackRock and Vanguard are the largest shareholders in 90% of all publicly traded companies in America. 90%. They own stakes in Amazon, Tesla, Walmart, Exxon, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. Pick any major corporation. Go to their shareholder list. You will find them. Always in the top 3. But here is where it gets strange. Who owns Vanguard? No one knows. Vanguard is privately held. It doesn't have to disclose its owners. It doesn't answer to regulators the way other firms do. It is a black box. And BlackRock? BlackRock owns shares in Vanguard, and Vanguard owns shares in BlackRock. They own each other. It is a loop, a closed circle, a financial Ouroboros eating its own tail. And at the center of it all is one man, Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, the most powerful person you have never heard of. He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't go on CNN. He doesn't need to. Because Larry Fink doesn't work for the market. The market works for him. But here is the part that should terrify you. BlackRock isn't really run by Larry Fink. It is run by a machine, an AI system called Aladdin. Asset, liability, and debt, derivatives, investment, network, Aladdin. It sounds like a cartoon character, but it is the most powerful financial algorithm on Earth. Aladdin monitors $21 trillion in assets. That is not just BlackRock's money. That is money from governments, central banks, pension funds, and sovereign wealth funds. More than $21 trillion moving through one system. One AI. Aladdin can see every trade before it happens. It can predict market crashes. It can identify risk in real time across every sector, every country, every asset class. It knows what you're going to buy before you do. It knows which companies will rise and which will fall. It sees patterns invisible to human traders. Aladdin doesn't guess. It calculates. And when Aladdin makes a decision, the entire market moves. Let me say that again. When Aladdin makes a decision, the entire market moves. If Aladdin decides to dump a stock, that stock crashes. If Aladdin decides to buy, that stock soars. It is not insider trading because Aladdin isn't human. It is not manipulation because Aladdin is just following its programming. But the result is the same. One algorithm controls the flow of capital across the entire planet. Think about that. The global economy isn't run by presidents or parliaments. It isn't run by central banks or the Federal Reserve. It is run by Aladdin, a machine designed by BlackRock to maximize profit, to manage risk, to consolidate control. And here is the kicker. Aladdin isn't just used by BlackRock. It is used by the Federal Reserve, by the European Central Bank, by governments during financial crises. When the markets crashed in 2008, who did the government call? BlackRock. When COVID hit and the Fed needed to manage trillions in emergency spending, who did they call? BlackRock. Aladdin didn't just predict the crashes, it managed the bailouts. It decided which companies lived and which died. And no one voted for it. No one elected it. It is a technological god, and it sees everything. Now, let's talk about your house, or rather, the house you will never own. In 2020, something changed in the housing market. Suddenly, single-family homes were selling for 20, 30, 40% over asking price. Cash offers, no inspections, instant sales. You couldn't compete. You thought it was other families bidding against you. It wasn't. It was BlackRock and companies just like it. Invitation Homes, American Homes, For Rent, Progress Residential, Wall Street landlords buying entire neighborhoods, not to live in them, not to flip them, to rent them back to you, forever. Since 2020, investment firms have purchased hundreds of thousands of single-family homes across the United States. They are not targeting luxury properties. They are targeting starter homes, affordable housing, the kinds of homes first-time buyers used to be able to purchase. Not anymore. Now you rent. From BlackRock, at whatever price they decide. And here is the genius of it. When you rent, you build no equity. You accumulate no wealth. You own nothing. Your rent goes up every year. Your landlord is an algorithm. Your lease is controlled by a faceless corporation with shareholders in 12 different countries. You are a cash flow, a data point, a line item on a spreadsheet managed by Aladdin. And it gets worse. Because BlackRock isn't just buying homes to rent them. They are buying homes to control entire markets. When one firm owns 30% of the housing stock in a city, they control the rental prices. They control supply. They control affordability. They don't need a monopoly. They just need enough leverage. And they have it. Your rent is high because BlackRock wants it high. Your grocery bill is expensive because BlackRock owns shares in every food producer, distributor, and retailer. Your gas costs more because BlackRock owns Exxon, Chevron, and BP. You are not a customer. You are a resource to be harvested. But maybe you are thinking, this is why we have government. This is why we have regulations. Let me tell you something. The government isn't regulating BlackRock. BlackRock is regulating the government. It is called the revolving door. Here is how it works. A BlackRock executive takes a job in the White House. They write financial policy. They craft regulations. They decide how trillions in taxpayer money gets spent. Then, when their term ends, they go right back to BlackRock. With connections, with insider knowledge, with power. And it doesn't matter who is president. Under Obama, BlackRock executives were appointed to senior positions in the Treasury Department. Under Trump, BlackRock managed the Federal Reserve's pandemic response. Under Biden, BlackRock advisors shaped climate policy, housing policy, and infrastructure spending. It is not left or right. It is not Republican or Democrat. It is the permanent state. Larry Fink doesn't care who wins the election. he has already won. Because no matter who sits in the Oval Office, BlackRock is in the room where it happens. They don't lobby. They don't beg for favors. They write the laws themselves. When the government needed to bail out the banks in 2008, BlackRock decided which banks got money. When the Fed needed to stabilize markets during COVID, BlackRock managed the asset purchases. When Congress talks about regulating Wall Street, guess who advises them? BlackRock. It is not corruption. It is integration. BlackRock isn't controlling the government from the outside. They are inside the machine. They are the machine. And here is the worst part. No one is stopping them. No one is even asking questions. Because BlackRock doesn't just own companies. They own media. They own shares in Comcast, in Disney, in Time Warner, in Fox. So when a journalist thinks about investigating BlackRock, their editor, whose pension fund is managed by BlackRock, kills the story. When a politician considers regulation, their campaign donors, advised by BlackRock, make a call. The system protects itself. And you? You are just living in it. So here is where we are. Two firms own 90% of everything. One AI system manages $21 trillion and controls the flow of global capital. Your home is being bought by algorithms, so you can rent it forever. Your government is run by the same people who run Wall Street, and no one is coming to save you. Because this isn't a conspiracy. It is just business. Larry Fink didn't break the law. BlackRock didn't commit a crime. They just played the game better than everyone else. They consolidated. They integrated. They automated. And now, they are too big to fail. Too big to regulate. Too big to stop. You can vote all you want, but the people you elect don't run the country. Aladdin does. You can protest. You can boycott. You can rage online. But the machine doesn't care. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have morals. It just calculates. And right now, the calculation says, you are more valuable as a renter than an owner. More profitable as a consumer than a citizen. More useful as data than as a person. Welcome to the future. You will own nothing, and BlackRock will own everything. The company that runs the world doesn't need your permission. It already has your money, your home, your future. And there is nothing you can do about it. Because the game was rigged before you were even born. The house always wins. And the house, it is owned by BlackRock.